So Rob, I heard you have issues. I've heard that on the street.
You've heard that on the street?
That you've got issues.
Word's getting around.
Yeah.
Yeah, word's getting around.
Well, that's great.
Don't we all?
This is, Siena's got issues, we've got issues here, and you've got an issue coming out.
Yeah.
Tankers #1 from the bad boys of comics, Bad Idea. They didn't pay me to say that.
I look like such a bad boy, don't I?
Yeah, you look like the chain. It's really the goal. I should have worn my chain.
Yeah.
How'd you get hooked up with Bad Idea? They're a brand new publisher. You're the second book they've put out.
Mm-hmm. So Bad Idea is made up of a group of guys, Warren Simons, Dinesh Shamdasani, Josh Johns, Hunter Gordonson, Adam Freeman, and also Carl Bollers. All of them worked at Valiant when Valiant Entertainment came back in 2012. I worked with all of them there except for Carl. Carl joined Valiant just after I left, so I didn't have a chance to work with him. But I worked with the rest of them there on X-Men of War and Eternal Warrior and Armor Hunters and all those projects. And aside from creating the comics and getting to know each other and how we worked and things like that, we all really kind of became friends.
Yeah.
Know? And in addition to that, a lot of the other talent that's working with Bad Idea, like Josh Dysart and Matt Kent and Doug Braithwaite and Juan Jose Reap, who drew Tankers, I worked with on Eternal Warrior. You know, we all kind of had good relationships, and so when Bad Idea reached out to me about doing some projects with them, I was super excited about it because it's a chance to, you know, not only sort of do some material that I haven't done before and challenge myself with some different kind of stories, but also reunite with a group of people that I had a really good time working with and all those sorts of things. And it's also like a different sort of creative muscle, you know. Like I really like doing the stuff for DC.
Right, but you can't have people cursing off and blowing up dinosaurs in a DC book.
Yeah, and it's one kind of creativity, right? You work for DC, and you're doing Green Lantern, you're doing Superman 78, which I'm super excited about.
I'm so
and you know, you conform to the rules of, you know, the Christopher Reeve, Richard Donner Superman universe, right? Well, something like Tankers, what they're doing at Bad Idea, you're really just making everything up from the ground up, right? So it's one kind of creativity sort of be put into the constraints of established continuity and what's going on in the wider universe and all those kinds of things. It's like a certain kind of creativity to work yourself around those situations. To have no constraints is a different kind of creativity, and they're both challenging and they're both fun to do, and neither is any better than the other. It's just kind of flexing different types of creative muscles.
You know, it's funny, I feel like I'm gonna sound like a name dropper, but I feel like I remember, like when we were at San Diego Comic-Con 2 years ago, you went off, Alan was running around with a rubber chicken. And you went off and had like lunch with Dinesh, and I feel like that must have been like 2 years ago. Is that when this started?
Actually, yeah, it would have been. So this would have been San Diego in 2019.
Yeah, I remember seeing Matt Kins under the umbrella at the San Diego bar with Dinesh. That's exactly
right. Yeah. That was when they first talked to me about Bad Idea. Yeah,
that's crazy.
So Matt had already started working with them on ENIAC and a bunch of great stuff that Matt's got going. But yeah, that was when they first talked to me about it. Was there? Now that you say that, I do remember.
Yeah.
It seems so long ago, right? Like I went to San Diego every year, like I don't know, I think it was like 16 years in a row or something, 14 years in a row, and now it's so weird we haven't had one 2 years in a row. You know.
It's weird. Yeah. And honestly, as a retailer, I was super stoked to see those guys get back together. I mean, this is real. Like when I started working at a shop, I'd never read Valiant, but at Ultimate, people really dug it. And your EXO is what got me into.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was super cool.
It's a great interview, by the way. You're doing a fantastic job.
Oh, thanks. Keep that in, Brock. You always cut out stuff I don't want, and you always keep stuff I don't want in. Keep that one in.
No, I appreciate that. It's funny. I didn't know Valiant either. Like when they reached out to me to pitch.
Well, yeah, because you were one of their first books.
Yeah,
XO that really kicked off.
XO1 was the first book.
Yeah.
And when they reached out to me to pitch, I was like, I'll be honest with you. Not only have I never heard of any of those characters, I've never heard of Valiant. I don't even know what Valiant is. Like I wasn't reading comics in the '90s, so I missed all of that. But it turned out that was kind of like what they wanted. You know, they wanted people that maybe would just have like a sort of a fresh, like, you know, unattached take on the stuff. You know, and like I say, it was great working with them there. So when they wanted to start a Bad Idea, which is a completely different thing, it's, you know, Valiant was an established universe, and there were continuities there and all those things. And this is all, you know, shorter stories, and, you know, really taking a lot of chances and doing a lot of innovative things just in terms of content and format and, you know, I don't know how many comics out there have a 32-page lead story with an 8-page backup, you know?
It's really cool how much you get out of just like the one comic, like how much content you get in there. And Juan Jose Rip, you worked with him on EXO.
No, Eternal Warrior.
Eternal Warrior.
We did two issues of Eternal Warrior together, and he did ones that were set like way back in like Eternal Warrior's origin days, and so they were kind of historical fiction. And the level of detail that he put into the art and the speed that he moved at was extraordinary.
Oh my god! I mean, I'm looking at the line work in here. It's just insane.
It's crazy, and he does it all with pencil. He doesn't ink. He has no inks. They color right from the pencils. And
I would never have guessed that.
Yeah, it's amazing, and he's so fast, and he's a really good collaborator to work with. And when I first was talking to Bad Idea about Tankers, I didn't know who the artist was going to be, but very early on they said they wanted Juan to draw it, and I wrote the book specifically for him.
Oh, that's so cool. I love those kind of collaborations where like...
He's able to do, like the book is very satirical, you know what I mean? Like the concept of the book is you have the oil companies, oil's going to run out, and so they have this team of mercenaries that have giant mechs that they're going to send back in time to divert the comet that killed the dinosaurs, so that dinosaurs will continue to live for like another 60 million years. The comet will take another lap around, then come back and kill them anyways, but we'll have all the other extra dead dinosaurs, you know, to make oil. I mean, it's obviously a very absurdist concept, but the way that we approach the story is at no point does anybody in the book think that any of this is not the most logical thing.
They're not winking at you.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all playing it completely straight. Like, this is the most sensible thing that we can do to ensure the future of society, you know? And Juan is like a special talent who can handle like all of the bullets and teeth that a concept of giant mechs fighting dinosaurs promises, but also really land those facial expressions that when they're saying these totally, utterly absurd things, he has the facial expressions that are just, they are deadly serious about it, and it just makes it so much funnier. So having worked with him on Eternal Warrior and knowing what kind of talent he was, it really put me in a mindset where I knew that with the story, I could do pretty much anything, and he was going to execute it and level up on it even better than I was thinking. And you know, the first issue shows that, and as we do issues 2 and 3, there's a lot of beats in there that he just really lands.
I was gonna say, when I first opened this, when I first read it, it really gave me like a Starship Troopers vibe, with that kind of like satire where, like, you know, you're watching that, all those actors are deadly serious, like you said, but you know, the jokes still land. Were you watching a ton of those, like RoboCop, watching those when you were writing these?
Verhoeven for sure. I'm not as versed in Starship Troopers, but RoboCop, yes, and also I love Total Recall. Like, I've seen Total Recall. Oh my god, like
Total Recall
a billion times in my life.
Is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I love it.
Very serious, not saying that for this.
Just like even like the sort of the practical effect nature of the stuff they do in Total Recall, you know, and I'm going to call him Chief Bogomil because I can't remember his name in Total Recall, but the actor who plays, he's Ronnie Cox. That's his name.
Yes.
He was in Beverly Hills Cop. But when you know, he shoots out onto Mars and his eyes are bugging out, his face is all weird. Like, you can totally see, like, that's even a vibe that Juan can pull across. You know what I mean? He has an art style that's good for those kinds of things, and so we really tried to lean into it. And I mean, he's been great to work with the whole time.
So it's only going to be 3 issues?
3 issues, yeah. So
oversized.
Yeah, one of the things that in the beginning when I was talking about Bad Idea, you know, they kind of want to keep things with a shorter length, you know, so there's always new stories coming out. It's kind of the same thing they did at Valiant. Like, arcs never really went beyond 4 issues. So they were talking about like 424s or 422s, and I was like, I really think that this would work better as like 332s, because you've got giant mechs fighting dinosaurs. Like, you got to have the space to let those things breathe and the big visuals, and to really let Juan show off and do these things. So, you know, page for page, you know, 332s is the same as 424s, right? It's just structured more in a 3-act structure.
You got that 3-act structure. Yeah. And as someone who just watched Kong vs. Godzilla, I was really primed to just see
Haven't seen it yet.
It's real good. It's real good. They know what they're making. It opens with like brackets at the credits where it's just like, you know what you want. So when did you decide, you know, you wanted to just write like a you hated dinosaurs. When did that come to you?
Dinosaurs have always bothered me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never met a dinosaur that I like.
You were telling me that when we were hanging out in San Diego with all the celebrities.
I had a real problem with dinosaurs.
I'm not trying to name drop, but you brought that up. You were like, I hate dinosaurs.
It's just a good, I don't know, it's just a fun concept. And for me, everything I do, I try to do something different. You know? So like, I don't want to do the same projects over and over and over, and that's completely fine. Like, it's a completely valid way to build a career. After I did Surrogates, I could have just done sci-fi comics and been like the sci-fi writer, But I didn't ever want to do that. I always want to try to do something different each time. So I'm always challenging myself, and it's not always going to work out, right? Sometimes you're gonna reach, and you're gonna overreach, and you're gonna stumble. But at least I think I'm always growing as a writer, and I'm learning from those experiences because I'm always trying different things, So this is a style of story that I've never done before, or the backup story in there is different from the stuff I've done before, and the Hank Howard pizza detective story that they announced is different from anything that I've done before. It's a very different style of story, and I'm really excited for people to read that for that reason, because what I would hope is that people read it and kind of think to themselves, like, I didn't know that Rob kind of had that gear, like I've seen him do XO, and I've seen him do
Green Lantern,
Hawkman, and Flash, or Surrogates, which is also kind of serious, and like all the stuff he's done, whatever, but this is a very different gear, and so I'm super proud of it, and I hope when people read it that it kind of surprises them that they didn't, that I'm used to seeing that from me. So.
It's cool because it is super different, but having read pretty much all your other stuff, Surrogates, you can see the evolution, and I love the way you kind of play with the genre with this. There is some sci-fi elements to it, but you're, it's a twist. It's a different book than I've seen. Not just from you, but just on the stands. There's nothing like this that it's hard to recommend this to someone.
I really don't know where else.
It's got a good elevator pitch.
Yeah, and I don't know where else you would get something like that, and even the approach to the marketing that they do. One of my really good friends, him obviously very well, Brockton McKinney, who's a director. He's sitting behind the camera.
He's sitting right there. That's Brockton. Okay.
That's
the one I'm yelling at always.
We're really good friends, and we came up with this idea to do the tank video where where I'm driving the tank and I'm shooting a 30 cal machine gun or whatever, and we pitched it to Bad Idea, and they were like, cool, man, when can you guys shoot that? And it's like, I don't know that there's a lot of places where that would happen that way,
You don't think DC is going to give you a budget to go shoot out?
I don't know what kind of, I don't know, it's just so off the wall, and but it's fun, I don't know.
I feel like you can feel that. I think but with the marketing and with the books we've gotten from Bad Idea, you can feel that everyone's having fun.
Yeah, and that's a huge part of it, and I don't know, the moment that we're in right now is such a serious, heavy moment, and I don't mean to be. I'm not trying to be dismissive of it. I mean, my wife works in a hospital and has been on the front lines of a lot of this stuff, and I've got kids that are growing up in the things that we're experiencing right now, and it's hard. But I'm not making light of it. But I do think that I don't know, just maybe it's good to just have a little fun in the middle of all that, and. That's kind of what Tankers is.
Yeah. And so it's Hank Howard, pizza detective.
Yeah.
Now, so this is your kind of sci-fi, humorous sci-fi satire. What's Hank Howard? Is that your take on the noir genre?
It's a whole new genre. Yeah. It's the pizza noir.
Pizza noir.
Yeah, it's the pizza noir, and it's a real hard-boiled story, about a detective who works for a big pizza chain.
Mm-hmm. Big pizza.
Yeah, there's a crime that happens at one of the stores, and he's the corporate detective that they bring in to solve the crimes. And so he has to figure out who stole all the safe from the big football weekend pizza take. And so very hard-boiled.
Yeah.
The dark, seedy underbelly of the pizza industry. But I had a lot of fun with that one too. It's like crazy. I woke up one morning for no reason whatsoever, and I had these 3 lines of opening monologue in my head about this detective living in Florida, in Hollywood, Florida, because he's got the wrong Hollywood. He's not even in the cool Hollywood.
But it's that vibe, those old school LA.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But he's in the wrong Hollywood, and so he's just talking to himself. And I sat down and I wrote the whole thing. I don't know, by lunch I'd already done my final draft on it, and I sent it to Warren Simons at Bad Idea, and I was like, dude. you didn't ask me for this. I'm sure you don't want it, but
here's
a story about a pizza detective.
Fully formed.
Yeah, and they ended up liking it, and they're going to publish it,
Oh, man.
So, again, it's just trying to have some fun. I'm still doing a lot of other work, and like I say, Superman 78 and all those kinds of things. I love doing those things too. It's just another way to flex some creative muscles and again, get outside my comfort zone.
And get that pizza licensing deal,
Exactly.
right? I'm sure that's worked into the contract if that ever.
And David Lapham drew it, which is like,
oh man,
yeah, insane.
Like,
you know what I mean? That's absurd. Did I ever think that I would have David Lapham draw anything that I did? But to have it be this pizza detective
Pizza Noir,
story,
yeah.
and he leans all the way in.
Oh, it's so
like
good.
he gets all the lighting in there, and like the facial expressions, and like the interrogation moments, and like the body language and everything. He just leaned in all the way, and I just read it again the other night. Going through lettering as we're getting it ready for the printer, and I love it. I think it's great. So I don't know what anybody else is gonna think of it, but I love it. So
I mean, this can be cut, but I need you to see this if you haven't seen it. It came out like a year ago. There's this really good interview with Papa John's. Papa John from Papa John's after he'd been laid off from Papa John's. He'd been pushed out in a corporate thing.
I remember that. There was some kind of thing and Peyton Manning got mixed up in it somehow too, right, or something?
There's this really funny 60 Minutes interview where he's sweating profusely. He's all red and he's talking about how there's going to be a reckoning, and he looks like a supervillain. He is who I'm imagining. He's the bad guy in this, where he's like,
you're never gonna see this bad guy coming.
No,
you're not gonna see this villain coming.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna catch you off guard. Yeah.
It's gonna surprise me.
It's gonna surprise you.
Okay.
You're not gonna figure out this mystery.
Unlikely.
Like Hank Howard has to bring his A game to really crack this case, and so yeah, I wouldn't get too confident that you're gonna figure it out.
Okay. Well, so it's a Bad Idea. You like working with them.
Yep.
We're gonna see more from you with Bad Idea.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
You got anything?
So I've got. Gosh, I don't know, but yeah.
What you can say.
Yeah, I've got other projects, lined up with them already that we're working on, that we've already got scripts in and people drawing and stuff like that. They just haven't been announced yet. So Tankers is just the beginning of the stuff that I'll be doing with them, and like I say, Hank Howard will be out I think May 12th. And then
I know it's one day. I'm already trying to plan logistics at the shops.
I don't even know how I'm going to get a copy. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. If you don't get your copy, we'll send you one.
But yeah, so Tankers 1 is out, in April, and then Hank Howard, the one shot, will be out in May, and then Tankers 2, it's every other month, so it'll be April, June, and August.
And so, I have to touch on it a little bit, because when I heard that project get announced, I was just over the moon. Superman 78, how exciting is that? I know you're a huge Superman fan. I love your Superman stuff, that stuff we got from the Walmart Superman books. The Superman Giant books.
Yeah.
It was so exciting to see you just on a full, you getting to do Superman.
Yeah, so he's always been my favorite character. And, I've talked about it plenty of times in interviews, that I didn't grow up reading comics, I started reading them in my late 20s. And so my original introduction to superheroes as a concept and superhero universes and things was being in the theater watching Superman 2.
The best one of my favorites.
The Richard Donner film, and it just made such a huge impression on me. I was at the right age where Superman kneeled before Zod, and in my little kid head I was like, what's the world going to do? Superman lost his powers. Not what is the world inside the movie going to do, but what are we as humanity going to do?
You were in there. Yeah. You were in the world.
And it just made such a huge mark on me. And beyond that, just what Superman represents as a character, and the selflessness and the decency when he doesn't have to be. And I think there's a lot of times there's sort of a desire to deconstruct Superman, or to maybe write a darker version of Superman or things like that. And I just never see the character that way. And it's certainly not what he was in the Christopher Reeve films. And
right.
So, to say that Superman 78 is a dream project is almost like a fallacy, because it's nothing that I ever even thought would possibly exist.
Right.
Working on Superman has always been a dream project, but I didn't think it could possibly ever be that Superman. I never even considered it, because how could that even happen?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So when DC reached out to me about doing it, I just was floored. If there is any version of Superman that I would want to do, it's this version of Superman, because I just believe in it so strongly, and I have such an affection for it on a personal level, but also just culturally what it means. And so I'm really proud of the story that we're doing. Working on it with Wilfredo
Torres.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a sneak peek, and those pages look incredible.
Art is amazing. He really captures not just the sort of the visual, but the mannerisms, the way that Christopher Reeve played Clark Kent, but also Superman, and the body language.
Oh yeah, it's crazy to think of the transformation he does. It's real in that movie, how he flips between those two.
He's like one of the most attractive human beings that ever existed, and yet he plays Clark Kent, and you really believe that people wouldn't know he was Superman.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
can totally see it.
I see how he fooled people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's so hard to do. And Wilfredo captures all those things, and so there's a ton that they haven't announced yet about the story, but who the villain is and sort of what the background plot is. But we're really excited to be bringing a lot of these things and to be adding them into that particular, Superman universe is I don't know. I hope I get to do 100 of them. So
yeah.
We'll see how the first one goes.
Hey man, Batman 66 went on for a while. Yeah. I want that for Superman 78.
So do I, yeah. I could do it every day for the rest of my life, In some ways, it's the easiest thing I ever did, because it was just, I don't know, just
came out onto the page.
Yeah.
And talking about how we are in kind of like a weird, like I said, bleak time. I feel like I like the Snyder stuff. I do like that version of Superman, but I can't think of a more perfect time to get that Christopher Reeve Superman back,
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I'm about to get vaccinated next week, and like that symbol of hope, we're finally maybe building towards like something better. I just feel like it's perfect timing to have this version of Superman back.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, I don't know, just who I am as a person, Like I don't want to say that I was sitting in the theater and like I learned that from Superman, but I think that's why I like the character so much, because there were always kind of those elements of myself that if I don't believe that we can do better and we can be better, then I don't know why I would get out of bed in the morning. So even in the face of maybe all logic pointing to the impossibility of that, I still have to have hope for it, because otherwise I don't know why I would write a single word, and I'm not discounting, darker stories.
Oh, or other interpretations, of course.
Those are aesthetic choices that people make, and I get why people love them, and there's stories that I see that are darker that I really enjoy too, but for me creatively to put myself in a headspace, I think if you look at all the stuff that I've written, even though I try to do different genres and different types of heroes and
I mean, Green Lantern,
but there's always like an element of that hope and goodness to it, because I don't know, that's just kind of like what I believe, I guess. Maybe that sounds corny. I don't know.
No, that's why I loved your Lantern stuff so much. Again, I came into the industry as such a Marvel fan. That's what I grew up reading, and then like Image stuff, and Ultimate. I got into Valiant and DC stuff, and I fell in love with these characters, and like I can feel that through your Green Lantern stuff, and that's why I got into that character,
Yeah, thank you.
So, yeah.
Don't edit that either, bro.
Keep that in.
Yeah.
Brock's looking up from his phone. He's like, leave me
Why
out
are you
of
making
it.
me a part
He's
of the
like,
interview?
leave me out of it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to take up too much time. We gotta get ready for Tanker's debut.
I'm fired up.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're gonna be signing at our shop.
I'll be doing a signing.
Yep.
Come on down, get yourself a gold button.
Yeah, look at that. I got
Brag
it
to all
here
your
ready.
friends. There it is. It
There's
glows.
Tanker's pin.
Look at it.
Rob was eyeing it. He's like, did they send you two? I was like, no, Rob, they did not
I don't
send
even
me
have
two.
one. I will
No,
never have one.
You are not getting one of these
Yeah.
bad boys.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time for the interview. This was really fun.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So everyone go check out, go to your local Bad Idea destination store, whether it be Ultimate Comics. We're gonna have some of these on the live show. We might even have some signed ones if I can get Rob. We're gonna tie him to a chair, put a Sharpie in his hands.
Yep. Sign as many as you want. Brock, any words on our way out? You want to add anything?
Yeah, Brock, he's giving me some sort of hand gesture. I don't know what that means. I don't know.
The fourth wall, guys. We talked about this.
This is very meta. We like. That's what Rob likes. Anyway, yeah. Tune into the live show. We will have some signed copies for you from Rob. We're gonna get some signed. If not, check out the shop. We'll have them. or your local Bad Idea destination store. And it's really good. I'm not just saying that. I really enjoyed it. So
I appreciate it.
Check it out.
Yep.
All right. See you next time. Siena has issues.